companies that the designer Stacy Garcia, who we know well,
right?
She designs products for different industries and
now does she all
hospitality.
three of those companies that were sponsored? I know she's she doesn't work for Tile Bar, but she is a design representative for that. And one of the companies is hers, or are all of them? What was this kind of focused around Stacy?
Well, the event was focused around Stacy Garcia and her designs, and three of the companies that she designs products for and curates products for were the sponsors of the event. So one was Tile Bar, because that's where the event happened to be. We were, the venue, but we were also a sponsor because she designed some phenomenal tile for us, some really beautiful porcelain tile, as well as some new LVT that's going to be launched in the future. So Tile Bar is one of them, tile, of course, and LVT. And then Coroseal with a K, Coroseal is another, and they do fabrics and vinyl, like wall covering. So
I thought it was caulk. I thought Coroseal was she's designing caulk and caulk colors and concrete fixtures.
Yeah, I figured you would think that. I can see why. Yeah. So Coroseal does vinyl, like, for hospitality, wall coverings, beautiful stuff. And then Libatex is a fabric company which is owned by Stacy Garcia company. So there's two companies. It was really a phenomenal event, and I'm so glad that you were able to be chiming in live from New York. But it was really fun. It was
Libatex sounds like a yoga pants. Let's leave it. But I'm guessing that has nothing to do with anything.
We got to get you into these meetings when they're creating names.
But maybe I'm just a weird technical guy, so therefore nobody cares what I think.
Well, I care what you think, and we're on the Tile Happy Hour. So if anyone out there wants to chime in and say hello, let us know where you're watching from. Give us a little shout out. We're broadcasting live on a bunch of channels, including LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. And my limit is 3. I can never remember 4.
That's okay. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Twitter's happening. Twitter is hitting it big lately. If you're watching it live, we'd love to hear from where you are. If you are watching it on a playback, we'd still like to hear from you.
Yes.
Please give us a thumbs up. Throw something in the comments. It helps the algorithm. You hear that all the time. I have no idea what that means, but it helps the algorithm. We got Steve Barker saying it's all about tiles. That's right. I wouldn't say we're all about tiles.
Well, yeah, a lot. Steve's a good guy. Steve is in the industry here in Long Island, and he serves a lot of businesses in the industry. So glad to have you, Steve. What's happening?
Yeah, well, I got somebody from Facebook that's probably part of my family says, Craig, your video looks amazing. Well, it all has to do with this face. I mean, it's hard to get past, what God gave me here. But the lights and the expensive camera, they do help. They do help.
Hey, so I know you have a better count than I do. Where are we episode wise? Now, was our live episode considered an episode? So Wednesday,
no, because it was a special. It's like the ABC Christmas special. It doesn't count in the count.
Okay.
So today is, and funny. Today is episode 13, and we, thanks, Chris. I appreciate you watching. Great content. Hey, Chris loves tile. We love tile. But yeah, episode lucky number 13. Can you believe we've been doing this for 13 weeks straight? We haven't even taken a vacation.
No, that's true. I'm actually taking off the day after our next episode. Wait, our next episode is on the 7th, right? I believe.
6th, I believe. Tile the World. Thank you, my beautiful bride. The next episode is a special episode. Don't you remember? Yes.
So we have a lot of special guests that are coming up. And we're kicking off with just,
the summer fun Tile World time with Laticrete's very own Ron Nash. Ron Nash is going to be with us next Tuesday evening at 8:00. Now, he is not on the East Coast, so he's probably actually still gonna be like working or something.
Yeah, well, he's the boss. He could
That's right.
He can break away for a podcast.
That's right.
Laticrete, what kind of gravitas does Laticrete have? First place, I'm not even saying it right technically, right?
I don't know. Some people say, I think, and we'll get this confirmation next week. I believe the right way to say it is Laticrete, because it's latex, Laticrete. Now that's a phonics thing. My wife can help me with that. She's a kindergarten teacher. But I've always said Laticrete just because.
That explains where you get all your vocabulary from.
Yes, yeah. I have the 3-lined paper here where I use the upstairs, downstairs, and basement. That's how I write things if I ever write anything. But I do believe it's pronounced Laticrete. And in my opinion, and I'd love to hear from you out there in the tile world, Laticrete are innovators. If nothing else, they're innovators. And they're family-owned business. They've been doing this, and I'm just making stuff up, since the 50s. We can confirm later, but right now I'm just talking off the top of my head. But they've been doing it very long.
Ron, Craig said you guys started in the Peloponnesian War.
1822. Yeah. But no, they have been a partner of mine for a long time. I've used Laticrete products, and I'm a big fan. There's a lot of other great setting material products out there. And
right, but why are you a fan? Not only because of that logo, right? Or how do you say that?
No, that has nothing to do with the logo. Right. What sold me on Laticrete was their investment in the contractor. And because I was a contractor and I came into the industry knowing nothing, I was, I'm not going to tell you my story tonight, but I in 2000, and Laticrete, through their field management, taught me the tile industry, and they were always willing to jump in and, hey, we've got this new product. Let me ship you some of it, and we'll come over there and help you install it, and help troubleshoot stuff. And that just rang with me. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a servant at heart, and I felt like they kind of would always come beside you in that. And they did that from when I knew nothing, and now they still help me with that today. And not saying any of the other ones are wrong. Mape, Ardex, Tech. There's a ton of them. Is
HB Fuller still around, or did Tech buy them? What was
HB Fuller Tech? They combined. I'm not sure who is the parent company.
Right.
But HB Fuller.
Yeah, I haven't heard the name in a while. HB Fuller, so it must be.
Tech is not as well, and I also have to realize that this broadcast is international, and I'm in a very small part of the country, and I know that some of that can be regional.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mape, for example, they have manufacture. I think they probably have the most manufacturing facilities, I would think, globally. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm not sure that's true or not either, but I know them and Laticrete, and from what I know, are the biggest global, and that have the Western market, which is normally the hardest market to.
Because we're a pain in the ass over here. We're so needy. We have a lot of lawyers. Too many
right.
We have 3 lawyers for every person, so like grout discolors and
and we want everybody to take care of us. Take care of me. Take care of me. We are a country of me. But
I remember I had a client years ago who was complaining about some kind of visual thing in her floor tile here on Long Island, and I happened to have the rep from Italy come in visiting me, which they came a couple of times a year, and I set up an appointment for him to come with me. So we get up to the North Shore of Long Island, which is kind of hooty snooty, and he walks in, and we look in, and this floor is gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful. And I'm like looking like, what the frick? I don't see anything wrong here. Yeah. And she comes in, and he's like looking around, and she's like, you see this over here? And he's like, well, then she's like getting lower. And then she's like on her knees at the angle of the light. And she's like, look over here. I saw his face like boiling over. And what he said to her, not like it wasn't vulgar, but it was kind of like getting your life priorities.
Yeah,
like you were crazy Americans. And that was the last time I brought an Italian rep to a customer service call, because I had to still be diplomatic. He was not diplomatic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a valid point. You know what I do day in and day out. I get a lot of complaints and questions about the technical aspects of tile.
You know what? I don't think we've explained, Craig. What do you do at Tile Bar? So I'm still trying to figure it out. So I'd like to know.
Gosh, nobody's listening to this, are they? My official title is,
and you may be unemployed tomorrow, depending on what you say.
I got to choose my words carefully, because this is, as we say, evergreen. You can listen to it. But exactly. I am the technical director for the company. So my number one job is to develop training for all of our team, and that goes from our warehouse sample making team to our customer service reps, to our sales reps and architectural reps who think they know everything. And I develop training. I have a monthly training with them, and that's kind of the top of the pyramid. Secondly, I make sure that we have compatible products. So when we have a new innovative product, I want to make sure that when you're buying that from Tile Bar, you have a quality thin set, a quality grout that's actually been looked at and said, yeah, these work well together.
And that's really interesting, because there are some other industries where, I don't know, let's talk about, even though we're in the LVT business, but look at the LVT segment. There's LVT and there's glue. And the only choices are, do you want to glue it? Do you want to roll it on? Or do you want to brush it on? Right? For the most part, that's all you got. When you're talking about tile, there's because LVT is just, vinyl, but there's tile, there's glass, there's porcelain, there's terrazzo, there's concrete tile, right? Stone, natural stone. And sometimes there's materials mixed, like you'll have a mosaic that has different, mediums. So it's really a lot of technical. We really need you. I hate, not that I hate to say it, but
well, there's a lot of combinations that, and then you start diving into budgets, because you can spend a mint and probably find a one solution that fits all, but sometimes that may be overkill. And I think nobody likes it. I've presented it 100 times, the good, better, best philosophy, and every time I say that in front of the product team, they're like, we don't like the way that sounds, we're not doing that. I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's good, because I'm not a marketer. I just kind of do it for what works.
That's a time-tested saying. People do that all the time. I like that.
We're innovators, and evidently that's out. All right. So once I do that, I write a lot of I try to keep our maintenance directions up, our product descriptions up, our installation guides.
Is that you, or is that AI writing that stuff?
My job will never be taken by AI. It's going to only be taken by somebody who knows how to use it better than me.
All right, good.
And then the last kind of facet of it is I try to entertain with information about the tile industry to help get the knowledge out there, so that even if it's a client that's a homeowner and has never done tile before, they can hopefully find a video or some sort of information that I've got out there that can help them have a good installation, because it serves the industry when you give away the information.
Right. Well, and the thing is, we're giving it away, but it's costing us. I mean, I saw your paycheck. No, no, really, but we invest in people to do this. I'm thinking, I don't want to name names, but I could think of some really big tile manufacturers who the most you can get is call their sales service center and ask the guy on the phone, what do you recommend for this? So I think it's a testament to Tile Bar, and there are a few other, but very few, mostly manufacturers. Some manufacturers, we've talked about Oceanside Glass. I know they have a dedicated person in that team, and particularly because their glass tile is considered pretty high end, and sometimes there's some tricky questions to do with glass. And so I think that's like a necessity in the glass business if you want to be like on the front end. But in the tile end, you could just, throw shit in the wall and see what happens.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel I'm really proud that Tile Bar takes the initiative, brought you on, somebody who's really experienced, somebody and you never take anything like stupid question is bad. You really want to serve. And I saw you in action at our sales summit last year where we had rented out like half of the TWA.
That's right.
TWA hotel and some really good hands-on presentation. That's the one thing I like the way you operate is even though a lot of times we need to work remotely, the whole hands-on aspect of it, even via a Zoom or a team meeting, I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. I do a meeting virtual once a month, but I always get accolades from the customer service and the inside sales team when I go to Inwood and do a in-house training, which is actually coming up in the next 3 weeks. And I always get a lot of feedback and a lot of positive comments because there's nothing like touching it and feeling it. And
right.
And in customer service, a lot of times you have a script, but it doesn't necessarily make sense until you get your hands dirty. And that's what I want the novice to see. And that's what I want our team to see. And I firmly believe when you give away that knowledge, that it'll come back in sales.
Right.
I think that look at the story I told with Laticrete. They were invested in teaching contractors, and they've that gets them sales. And I firmly believe that with Tile Bar. I think as many times as I can talk directly to an architect and help them write a spec that may not even be for our product, I know the next sale could be ours because they're going to say they invested that time. And it's
people appreciate that, when
absolutely.
because it's not, even though you're talking about sales, getting sales, we need to bring revenue in to support our team, to support our overhead. But it's self-serving, but it's not. But we're also serving the industry. And when someone has a tile installed and it doesn't fail and it's from one of our competitors, that's a good thing, because when you see a failure, it just makes people, think of alternative products.
Carpet. And who wants to,
right.
Come on. Well, yeah. So that's my day in and day out in a nutshell, John. You thought I just sat here and played with lighting. Is that red to you? That's kind of weird. What's going on? It's like some psychedelic thing.
It looks pretty good. I like it.
I was like, I didn't know if the Pink Floyd record had come on and.
That's a Grateful Dead maybe cover.
Maybe that's what it is. Well, I know you and I talked about some Waterjet stuff.
We were talking about that project, and it made us talk about the Waterjet technology, how like an R that we are over it. And it's just, what's interesting is that, Waterjet is something out in industry that's not just for tile, right? It's a technology that's designed for manufacturing facilities for the most part, but the tolerances are just mind-blowing. And there's so many reasons why this Waterjet. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Waterjet, basically it's a dynamic way of cutting a product without a saw, but it's with pressure and water and sometimes aggregates. So just picture like a laser. A laser is a different way of cutting and can probably even be more precise. Waterjet gets to like 0.001 of an inch, right? Like 100th of an inch. And laser,
I think it's 3/32 of an inch.
No, I think it's less than that.
You think it's less than that? The one that we had at my old company, I think that's what it was, but I don't remember.
Yeah, was that sitting next to the 8-track tape player?
Yes, yeah.
That was an old version. Yeah.
I got this muted, but this is a Waterjet, and I can't click on it there. I have to click on it here. And that's cutting through a piece of metal. So it's showing the strength or the capacity of it in its accuracy and how tough the material can be.
So it looks like the output of that is really basic, like a rectangle, but it's programmed in the computer, right?
Yep.
And
anything you can draw, it can cut.
Right. So it's very efficient. There's very little waste. If you have in that case, like a sheet of metal, you couldn't possibly cut that by hand and,
no way.
Create. And that's a pretty simple cutout, but you have these, look at that. Yeah. But no, really, Waterjet. Do you know the thickest material you can cut with a Waterjet typically? I know the answer.
I have, the answer?
I do.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen our guy, he would just test stuff. And I know at one point in time he took a barbell in there and he cut it, and it was like 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah, 4 inches apparently is the. I mean, there are different levels of quality of machine in aggregate, but I think 4 inches. Now, there's another reason the Waterjet works well. Picture like an art glass, which is super thin. It's like a 1/4 inch glass, and it's actually like a stained glass. It's actually very fragile. And can you imagine a piece of glass and take a glass cutter? If you push down too hard while you're scoring it, you can actually snap it like right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
The Waterjet is not putting any pressure on anywhere else except that really small area where they're cutting. But the main benefit is that it can cut like curves and can cut things you cannot do. I always thought of the Waterjet. Do you ever see they used to do these like area rugs with fancy patterns, like flower patterns in it?
Yep. And we had a desk at my old company that it was all that.
Yeah. So I always, like, you look at that, you can never do that in marble, but now you can do that in marble with the Waterjet, and you could cut these pieces, and you could program the machine, and it could cut all the, it also makes these like ingredients, like these parts, right? If you have a petal, like a flower petal, and you can cut 500 of them, and then next to it it'll cut like a stem if you want to cut the stem to maximize the material, not have as much waste. So
it'll cut a battle flag too, right?
What's a battle flag? Oh, there we go. You know what? That's actually, so that is really cool. So I've been with the company quite a while, and when I came on board, I was introduced. We have our monthly sales meeting, company meetings. I was introduced by the owners to a group of everybody saying, we finally hired someone who knows a lot about the tile industry. We had some people already on board, but I was like one of them. So technically, like, customer service would come to me sometimes, say, hey, we have this like textured tile and someone wants to grout it, and what do we do? And I was, unofficially giving answers. I mean, they were based on, my whole career of knowing. So, but I wasn't devoted to technical assistance, but, by nature of having my own companies in the past in the tile industry, I knew the answers a lot, and it was really helpful. So the story behind this product is, this is a marble mosaic, and maybe we can get to the website a little later. I want to show you what a sheet of this looks like. So that skull is black marble. The background is white Carrara marble, and the eyes are mirror tile. So it's different thickness, and
doesn't look like mirror.
Yeah, the picture is not the best. But if you see Tile Bar, when you go to trade shows, Tile Bar, we hand out like these little pins with skull and cross, and we literally we showed this at a trade show. Oh, go to the second thumbnail.
Oh, I'm trying to click on it on the wrong screen. There you go.
All right, so that is one sheet of mosaic. Can you read? Okay. I don't have the size, but that's probably like 10 by 15. That sheet. Does it have a dimension there?
It says 4.5 by 4.5. Well, that may just be the skull size.
Yeah. So, but look at that. So that's all mounted on a sheet, and look at those cuts. Oh, that's a great view. The side view.
Yeah, I did that. I took that. I just took that.
That is cool.
Cool,
so you can't take like a wet saw and cut that, right? You need Waterjet technology, and that's Waterjet technology is expensive. to buy to maintain. There's parts that blow a lot, and look at that. We inserted the front of a vanity.
That's pretty fun.
That dimension was off. That 4-inch. It doesn't seem right because that looks like.
I think that says it's the skull dimension. The skull is 4 inches.
And we've had that ever since I've been with the company. And
that's very cool.
Is it our best seller? No, but we're probably the only people who stock that and anything like it, in the country. Yeah. So we're getting.
But it's not cheap either. I mean, you gotta really like it. But I will say, I'm getting ready this week for my son to go to ECU. And that is the home of the Pirates. So
oh, really? Wait, what's ECU?
East Carolina University.
Oh, cool. What's he studying?
So he is going into school of business. He wants to focus on entrepreneurship.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
back to this, and so I pulled up some other.
Oh, that's good.
Other items that kind of just show something that's not as specific, or something that's a little more useful.
That's actually some good choice of pictures there, Craig, because on the left side that's some marble and that kind of florally circle thing. That is mother of pearl, which is the thinnest material.
Yeah,
that
I get questions about mother of pearl. Awesome. Rick Crane probably knows all about it because he's glass tile, and I think mother of pearl is almost glass, is what I feel like. Yeah,
it's almost glass. Thanks, but it's thin like some of their art glass that Rick Crane's company makes, Oceanside Glass in California. Yeah. So that mother of pearl is the thinnest material we have, and can you imagine cutting that with anything other than Waterjet? It's impossible. You can't. You just can't do it.
I know, because I get questions about it. Not daily, but
what?
Every week.
What I think, I'm going to guess one of the most recurring question you get with mother of pearl: can you use it in a shower?
I get it often.
And what's your answer?
My answer is, I always preface my answer by saying I don't like using stone of any sort in a shower.
Right.
That's a personal preference, and it's really based on the maintenance, and I don't like to clean my showers because.
Right, because you're a slob, right? So, you don't clean.
Yeah, but I technically I can't find a reason not to use it in the shower, other than the maintenance issue.
Well, the thing that comes to mind is not the mother of pearl per se; it's how it's married with the thicker marble. So I believe the thin mother of pearl is laminated on top often of another piece of marble, and then they make a mosaic. So I guess the only question could be if it could delaminate, because there's very little there's not much meat to it. But
who knows what they're using to laminate it. That's true. Always my question is, what do you use to laminate your metal, your mother of pearl, and your backing? Because those things are critical, and a lot of times it's hard to get that information, because a lot of times just, factories change and they upgrade and update, and some things work here and some things don't work here.
I know for a fact that we've employed some really good techniques, and all the years I've been with the company, I've never had a complaint or an issue with the mother of pearl. I've sold tremendous amount of it in projects, been specified. Of course, I'm careful with where it's specified. Floor.
Did you put it on a shower floor?
No, I mean, generally I don't recommend it for a floor at all because of that thinness of that mother of pearl on the surface. So that's really
afraid of that. Yeah.
Yeah. If someone has like high heels on and steps on the mother of pearl portion, so I've limited it to my personal suggestions is to keep it to the wall and not a steam shower. I don't know. I just made that up, but that's what I tell people.
I know. I pucker a little bit too when I think about I get when I get that question, I'm like, oh crap. I can't think technically that it would not work, but really I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, well,
it's hard to justify it.
I've had no issues. So bottom right of that picture, there's marble again, but that's like a metal inlay. It's actually even erased. It's really cool. But look how intricate that is. Like the technology is amazing, and even though, these are more expensive than regular tile, it's amazing that we can do it and still sell it at a price that people can afford. Go back one more slide. I just want to look at that that bespoke pattern. Top right, that's an oceanside glass.
Lantern.
Yeah, that's the lantern pattern to bespoke, and using the Waterjet technology, and look how that comes to a point. And
I think that's a good looking pattern there.
Yeah. Now so out of all these materials, actually none of these are good for floors, because the blue glass is very thin, really high end, but only suitable for the wall. So people say, well, if it's so much money a square foot, how come I can't use it on the floor? And I use an example of like a silk shirt is expensive. It doesn't mean it's forgiving if you spill something on it. So
that's right.
Same thing with its glass. It's thin, but it's beautiful. The mother of pearl, I don't think it's good for the floor because of the thickness. And on the bottom right, you can't tell in the picture, but that metal is kind of raised. It's proud of the marble, and you can't. You could feel that it's dimensional. You could feel that metal part. So that otherwise maybe it would be good for the floor. What's the next page? I saw some cool stuff.
Yeah, the next page is just a couple of different things. And one thing I always think about when I think of Waterjet is I worked for a company and we were building our new building, and you can make anything out of a Waterjet, but they've had mosaics with small pieces of tile since they've started tiling stuff, and it was made by hand. And we had 2 tables that were 8-foot banquet tables that were made with 5/8 by 5/8 marble pieces that were hand chipped, hand sanded, and placed into the mural was pretty intricate. It had like 7 or 8 different colors in it, and that's how it was done before. And if you were, I guess, lucky enough to have the finances to do that, back in the day, you would commission an artist to make it, and then a year later you'd get your table.
Yeah. And their hand, originally there was no even clippers, right? It was just like hand chiseled kind of, right?
Exactly.
And then nippers of some sort. You could nip them, and then a wet saw. But I can't imagine can you take a piece of marble and cut a square 5/8 without cutting your fingers off? I don't think that's possible.
I guess you can. I think you cut a strip and then you just kind of pop it off.
Okay, you cut a whole strip, say a 12-inch tile, and then I see that.
But back in the day, how did they do it? I don't know. They just took their time, and nothing is precise. You look at it and I want to talk a little bit more about that, how you actually look at a tile installation. But when you look at it, you can see the imperfections in it, and that's part of the beauty. It's a piece of art.
Well, you can go to Ravenna in Italy and learn how to do mosaic making. I even think part of the Catholic Church is some kind of program where they teach you mosaics. But definitely in Ravenna, Italy is kind of known for that type of type of marble chips that we call them chips. And a lot of mosaic, these beautiful murals. Now, not just Italy, of course, all over the world. You go into like Turkey and places but a lot of it was zeilish tile, ceramic tile, hand clipped or chiseled. You ever seen them make that stuff, the zeilish tile?
No, I'm not. I don't know that I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, so it's actually the original tile in the world was this I think it's Zelige, zeilish tile. And it's kind of crude.
Totally lie, and I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, it's like if I tell you I know Latin, you wouldn't be able to test me. So if I say I speak Spanish, you'd start saying hola, and then
you're lost. Yeah, that's right.
So my advice to the young people out there: if you're going on a job interview and you want to impress somebody, just say you speak Latin. Nobody could test you.
That's right,
and it'll never come up. They're not going to call in, Leviticus, okay, Leviticus, come here, and this guy knows Latin. Why don't you talk to him?
E pluribus unum, whatever it is. I think that's written on the coin.
But Spanish, they're going to call the guy and they're going to start talking. So you're screwed. So that's That's my John Tedisco hack on making it live.
John Tedisco, how to get a job 101.
Tell people that you're expert in Latin. Well, Latin's really not even technically a spoken vocabulary as much as it's written, right? But anyway, that's my hack. So take it for what it's worth. You're welcome, the internet world. But yeah, so back in like Turkey and Morocco, at Tiles, they have these red clay glazed, fired, and they make these kind of blanks, and they take like chisels and they make all these shapes and like chiseling all these pieces, very irregular, like you said, and now it's kind of like a delicacy in the tile world to have this hand clip it back. Back then it was the only way you made tile, and then somewhere in the middle it was considered crude. But now the only problem with it is it's a soft material. It's not porcelain. It's a red body. Sometimes they fire it out like in the sun like in the yard, like a terracotta tile. But hey, you know what? Today, do you know what today is? There's a national day today.
I don't know. I haven't had the internet very long, hardly.
I have a feeling you may know this drink. It's Mint Julep Day.
Oh yeah, is it the Kentucky Derby? Isn't that where they?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was recently. So it's Kentucky Derby was, but what's the other Oak? Something like that is another Derby. During that weekend at Churchill Downs, I think. Churchill Downs, they serve 120,000 mint juleps, and the ingredients are mint, bourbon, sugar, and water. And I immediately thought of you. That's like your hard sweet tea, really, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's good. Well, I don't know if you realized it, but when I was out in the cold, it wasn't cold. You wouldn't let me into the design drop. I was wearing a bow tie, and my bow tie was from Keeneland Racetrack, which is part of the whatever.
Next time let's get like a little visual of that design drop. If we get a chance. One day.
I got one of those.
You do. Yeah, that was a great event.
It was good. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to do that live. Even though I wasn't there, it was a little hectic trying to switch back and forth from the cameras.
Well, there it goes. So those SGNY, which is Stacy Garcia, IDS, Interior Design Society, New York City chapter, which is part of Design Week. Hundreds of thousands of people come into New York City. Those last 2 weeks kicked off at the ICFF show, and it's NYC by Design, the festival, and there was about 200 curated events around the city, and we were honored to be the host to be the venue of this Design Drop 2024, which is really.
But it was the hundreds of thousands of people didn't come to Design Drop. They just came to
just
the
about
city.
92,
kind of like Fashion Week, right?
92,000, right? Exactly. We had a phenomenal turnout. I mean, and we had we had cams all over the place. We had live cams upstairs, downstairs.
That was good. I'd like to do that again. We're going to plan it a little better next time, but it was a last minute thing. I was available and said, "Hey, I can host it online," and we did it. I thought it was a neat. It was a neat idea. Well, the atmosphere was just cool. I mean, who doesn't want to go? I've never been to a party in Manhattan, but who doesn't want to go to a party in Manhattan? You feel like you're somebody.
I'll invite you next time when you're in town. Yeah. So this concept was, we put this program together. And we had these really cool garment racks, but gold and really nice garment racks. Yeah. So we had models, and we had product being displayed on these racks and walk down the aisle, and it was exactly like a fashion show. So originally we were just putting like chairs straight ahead, have a presentation like a typical classroom, and then the creative juices started going. We turned it on an angle. We created a runway. We got fancy chairs, got a fuchsia carpet to match the logo, and we had cocktails and networking and food on the main level, and the lower level was this. We had it all illuminated in this like pink, and you go down there, everything with the lights are off except the chairs were glowing, and it was really cool. And everyone got their seats, and we started this kind of fashion show, and I was talking to Tracy Cluse of Coruscant and Keith Baltimore Design Group, and Stacy Garcia. And I was moderating kind of a panel, but the panel was really there to talk about the product that was being was like a runway. It was like a fashion show. So
Yeah.
they'd roll the cart through, and then in the back room, they one by one take the product off and walk down the aisle and let people touch and feel the product, which was totally the response was amazing. The amount of comments we had the night of and thereafter. If anyone wants to check it out, go on social media and just do hashtag Design Drop 2024. You'll see a bunch of really cool pictures. But it was
How
a
can
lot
they
of
see
fun.
the video that we put together?
Yeah, it's on our YouTube channels, right? We have the beginning. The audio was cut out, right? When part of it where I don't know if you saw it, but part of it, the audio was cut out. But it was really cool. Yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, you gotta see it.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you
fun. I wasn't even there.
Yeah, well, next one we'll invite you in. I wanted to ask you before on the Waterjet. They call the Waterjet cold cutting process. You know what does that mean? Like, what is it? I don't understand that.
I mean, I'm just shooting from the hip here. I'm assuming because there's little to no friction and it's all water, there's no heat generated. And it is a little bit misleading about Waterjet. There is an abrasive that is dropped into the stream of water. And I think that water comes out of that nozzle like at 20,000 PSI. It's something crazy. And they mix in just a small bit of aggregate, like the finest of fine. And that does the cutting.
Is that silica?
I'm not sure what
I think the aggregate. I think it depends. I think those are the choices. There are choices depending on the product you're making.
I think you're right. There are choices.
But I do believe silica is one of those choices, which is sand, right? But super fine, and it cuts it. It's really cool. Yeah, I just had that just popped in my head. I remember cold because I meant okay. So if it's a cold process, is there a hot process? But maybe the laser is considered like a hot process, right?
I bet that is what it is referring to, because the laser is fire.
Heat, right? Exactly.
I'm searching for it. Waterjet aggregate. See what the World Wide Web comes up. Actually, I found a new AI generator.
Oh my God! Every day I see something posted. Here's a cheat sheet for AI if you want, and there's like don't even bother screenshotting it because tomorrow it's going to be updated.
That's right. It'll be different. You're right. It is different. The aluminum oxide, silicon carbide, and diamond.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Those are.
I'm wondering what other industries employ Waterjet. I'm sure steel, right? Steel industries.
Yeah, I think in a lot of design, I worked with a friend of mine, and they would do a lot of stuff. They would make parts for furniture,
right,
that they couldn't buy. Kind of like a CNC machine,
right.
And but I don't know regularly, but when I started in the tile industry, no countertop companies had them. But then they figured out they were saving so much in waste by having a Waterjet machine. Most all countertop companies now, they come out to your job with a laptop or a tablet and a laser, and they shoot your kitchen, and then they go back and then they put it in the machine and it cuts it out. There's no more of this. Got to load your slab onto multiple different pieces of equipment.
Right. So,
got a shout out from another Tedesco. What?
Really? Who's that?
Your family finally tuned in. Thanks, Alexandra. It's because of me.
Oh, that's my daughter. She's in St. Pete Beach, Florida. What's up, Alex? Good to see you.
Welcome from Florida.
Tell us about CNC. So I don't understand what that. I don't even know what CNC.
A CNC machine, and this is a crude description, but it's a multi-arm. It's got a 2-axis, a 5-axis, so it has multiple saw blades or a blade of some sort that it'll cut in one direction, then it'll cut in another direction, and it can move all around. So it can cut 3-dimensionally.
But is it always Waterjet or not necessarily?
No. I think that is some sort of a blade.
So CNC is always a blade of some sort, right?
I think so, yes.
But I think they operate in a way where you program it and it cuts on its own.
Correct.
But the cutting technique is different. CNC. Yeah. And I think the CNC machines are employed in many industries, like incredible amount.
Yeah. I think they're making all sorts of stuff. And that's what I think they're still used in the stone industry to like polish edges and stuff like that. Because you can create a bullnose or you can create a waterfall with different bits and different things.
When I had my own marble shop, one of the worst things to do was when you had to cut out a sink for like a vanity top. So you have an onyx vanity top or a marble, and the people are putting an undermount sink, which not even an option. That's all you do now. There used to be like overmount sinks where you could make a rough cut with a cast iron glazed sink, right?
Yeah.
But undermount sinks, the inside of that hole has to be like. And I literally have a picture in my head where I had one of my guys like standing in the middle of it, like going like this, polishing it around by hand. And he's like standing the skinniest guy in the shop. And he would stand in the middle where now the technology would take that over completely and make it much. And the end result is uniform. When you do all that by hand, all that shop work and fabrication shops by hand, there's something to be said about handmade, but when you're doing like a countertop, you don't want irregularness. You don't want any character.
Right. You don't want any artistic
It's a little it's a little bit of an indent. Well, that looks nice. It's handmade.
I want it to all look the same. Absolutely. But that's the thing about technology. It's always in, innovation. Just as we'll come back all the way around. Waterjet has innovated the mosaic making process from doing it by hand,
right?
And if you're not, I fully believe. What was it? What was the year that they were going to close the patent office because they said everything had been everything that had been invented was already.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's cool.
Yeah, it was like the 1920 or something like
right.
that.
I was gonna guess that was it. That's incredible.
They're like, well, there's nothing else to invent. We're just going to close the patent office. Can you imagine that? We wouldn't be talking
here. There's that age-old debate about the toilet paper. Do you wrap it over the top or underneath?
Uh-huh.
And it brings me back to the whole patent office. So so my understanding is guys usually like the paper for going over the top, and a lot of girls like it from underneath the roll when you pull from. How is that employed in your home?
Oh, we don't. We're in the South. We don't use toilet paper.
You said it. I didn't. No. In the outhouse.
I'm just surprised when it's not empty when I need it. That's really the key. Is
you're happy? No, but there is. It's a debate.
You never notice beforehand, and it's like, oh. Man.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that male and females apparently argue over, and I think that's one of them. And the debate was settled. If you go back to the patent office, you'll see a handwritten drawing.
Ah, okay.
What was presented with a roll of toilet paper in it. And what's your guess is the appropriate position, underneath or over top?
I would say over the top.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, coming from behind. I feel like that's the right way to do it. I think, yeah. Well, I tell you, there's nothing much more I hate than a toilet paper holder. They never stay in the wall.
Oh, really?
That's just me. I don't know.
Well, you got to get ones that are screwed in, not like, remember the ones they had where the ceramic ones where they cut the tile and they put it in with plaster of Paris?
Yes, I love those. Those never.
What's the purpose of plaster of Paris? That's like the worst bonding agent of anything in the world.
It's easy to use. It's cheap. But this is, I don't know where this conversation is going, but do you remember back in the 80s when the toilet paper holder thing had freshener beads in it, and you spin it would create a smell? Oh,
are you saying those aren't in anymore?
I don't think so. I haven't seen them in about 40 years.
It's actually a pretty good invention. I mean, if you think about it.
It was great. I don't know why that died out. I mean, that's where you need it. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, you talk about we've talked about on this show like waterproofing, the things that were done in, let's say, a couple decades ago, right? You'd have a sheetrock wall in a shower, and then maybe you use green board if you like want to be like, you know, highfalutin, and then you take a soap dish and there's like the tiles missing there. You just take some plaster of Paris and stick it in there, and then they used to have the rails, the soap dish with the rail, but people were using it to hold on to, so then they banned those. That's why they got rid of those bars. We're just a wealth of useless information, but
and they would use them. They would take the corner shells and use them as foot perches.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I saw many of those in apartment complexes. They were installing them, you know, right above the tub lip and I guess ladies used them to shave, and they were breaking because some of those ceramic ones are hollow. You know, and when they break them, they cut themselves.
The hollow ones were terrible. Those I only sold the solid ones. There was a company called Willette in New Jersey. Solid porcelain, really solid soap accessories, 5-piece fixtures.
You didn't sell Apple Creek? You remember Apple Creek?
Apple Creek was hollow. Yeah.
Apple Creek was hollow. That's who made all of Dow Tile and American Oleans.
They still around?
Why do I remember that? I don't have any idea. I don't know why I remember that.
Are they still around?
Who knows? Probably. And all those, if I'm not mistaken, even up until like the late 2010s, were still made by hand. They were hand pressing those pieces.
So Willette went out of business, and then I brought on that Applegate. What was it called? Apple
Creek.
Apple Creek. And I think that was the name of the town where they were at, right? I think it was Apple Creek. And
Maybe, I don't know.
But theirs was like a little like bulkier and hollow and not as sleek as some others. I really wasn't a big fan of theirs. Yeah. But
I was not. I was never a big fan of any of those accessories because they're always a problem. You know, if they'd break or something would happen, and it just seemed like a warranty issue, which is why the niches became so popular. And now you've got now you got systems. That's right, systems and metal accessories. You know, people are using metal, which are cool looking. But full circle here. Yeah,
well, I know we've had a bunch of people say hello. So if you're watching this live, let us know where you're watching, which platform. Let us know. Say hello. If you're watching this after the show has been recorded and broadcasting, still drop us a line. Say hello.
For what it's worth, you know, the thumbs up, even a thumbs down, any kind of correspondence back and forth helps the channel, helps us out, lets us know what you want to see and what you want to hear. I think our conversation today on Waterjet was neat. Next week it's going to be, I think we're going to have to really hustle to get it done within an hour next week. So
I'm really looking forward to Ron. And you know, it's been a milestone tonight. You know what? You haven't stumped me on a question yet. So, you know.
Well, it's because I haven't had the internet all day. If you want me to stump you, I'll ask you the question that I was going to comment on your Italian visiting the job site. And because of that very issue, TCNA has written in the manual what the parameters are to inspect tile. Do you know what those are for floors and for walls? No cheating, no Googling.
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Yes. What is the TCNA recommendation? And if you know it out there in internet world, drop it in the comments, drop it on right now, and we'll see who gets it first.
So the Tile Council of North America's recommendation for what?
For inspection of finished tile work.
4 feet above the floor.
What about wall?
3 feet.
You got a 25%, no, 33% on this test.
Okay. Wait, I thought I answered 2 questions. How could I get?
Yeah, but I said, what are they?
Oh, okay.
And there's three things to remember. There may be a little bit more, but I'm going off of memory here.
Okay.
If you know, number one thing for both floor and wall, no artificial light. So no flashlights, no. It needs to be and it's supposed to be the light that the tile was installed with. Now tell me how big of an issue that can cause.
Well, you get what if you're on a new job site and you have like a, construction light hanging?
It is up to the contractor to ask or provide lighting that will look like the permanent lighting. So if they do not have permanent lighting installed, it is up to the contractor. And I would always recommend you push this to the general contractor. And I would always recommend, if you're writing a specification, to write that in your 9300 specifications that permanent lighting needs to be installed. And I actually have a video coming out this week about this, so keep an eye out for it. So you need to have the lighting that it was installed in, which hopefully is the permanent lighting. Floor tile, standing, so it needs to be 6 foot.
Oh, really?
Yep. Wall tile, 36 inches.
All right, so I got the last one right.
That's the one you got right. You got 33.
Well, I was thinking of height challenged people when you were talking about I said 4 feet. Oh,
yeah. I think the way it reads is standing, but I think they do have it written in there 6 foot.
Right.
I get that question a lot. Oh, we got somebody chiming in.
Well, someone may not even understand what we're talking about in a sense that if someone is complaining about the aesthetics of something, tile is not meant to get on your hands and knees and look at it on an angle and say, oh my God, look at this. I mean, that's just not what it is. This is not a magazine.
I can't tell you how many pictures that I get sent from job sites that are hands and knees, flashlight, their camera is literally, that close,
it's not a perfect product. It really isn't.
It's not. And it's meant to be, used and enjoyed from those distances. And you were wrong. You don't even know where your daughter is.
Yeah. Oh shoot! Did she say where she was? She's in Puerto Rico. I think.
Puerto Rico. Yeah. So hopefully you taught her Spanish, which I don't know. They're like an English probably.
I hope you're having a good time.
Donde es baño, Alexandria?
That's great. That's great. Really good.
So yeah, so I pretty much stumped you. I'll say I stumped you.
You did. No, I'll give you that win on that one. So hey, I learned something. Hopefully, some of you learned something here today. We're talking tile. If you don't like tile, then this is not the channel for you.
But we do look good. I mean,
yeah. All. What did I say before? And I said all tile talk or something like that. I put it in Instagram, but all talk radio, all tile talk radio, something like that. Well, folks, we have a lot happening in the industry, a lot happening in the world. We're glad you're here. Have a drink with us. I'm having my gin and tonic. What are you drinking, by the way?
Just had some whiskey, some Jameson.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
Cool.
Well, it's been really good for a few of you to chime in and say hello. It's really nice to see you guys. And I just looking forward to everyone next week because we have our special guest, Ron Nash from Laticrete, and it's going to be a really good show. And I'll get your questions ready and grab a drink and join us. So this is John Tedisco. I'd like to wish you peace, health, and happiness.
Yep. Thanks everybody for jumping in. Hey, if you have questions for Ron Nash or Laticrete or anything about setting materials that you want to know, send them to me ahead of time. Send them to us ahead of time. There are opportunities already online. That session is sitting in our YouTube waiting as an upcoming event, but you can go ahead and chime in now. And if your question gets in before we go live, I can put it online and ask Ron about it. I look forward to that conversation and talking to him, getting some good insight, asking him how to actually pronounce the name. Is it Laticrete? Is it Laticrete? I don't know. But all I know is for the rest of the week, I'm going to keep learning and learning together, and let's tile the world.